Hello, and thank you for joining us today for our MBA webinar. So my name is Lucy Welch. I'm a Student Enquiries Advisor. So you may recognise my name if we have spoken over the phone or via email before. So just to give you a bit more information about the structure of this webinar, as attendees, your microphone and videos have been disabled, so you'll just need to interact with us via the chat function and the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. So we do think to get the most out of the presentation, you wait until the end and ask your questions via the Q&A section. So if you see anyone else's question that you think is particularly relevant to you, we'd like to be answered more imminently, then you can upvote their question and that will jump to the top of the queue to be answered. We'll also be sending around a recording of this webinar in a few days' time, so do keep an eye on your inboxes for that. And with that said, I'll pass over to Professor George Burt to start with the presentation.
Hello, this is Professor Burt here. Good afternoon from Scotland, where it's grey and overcast. So I hope that the weather's better wherever you are at this particular moment in time. So I've been here at Stirling now for 5 years. I'm the director of the MBA. Been heavily involved in the design of it, and I'm more than happy to take any questions that you want to ask over the course of this webinar. Now to see how this is going to work. Next slide. Okay. So Stirling is in the centre of Scotland. It's almost equidistant between Edinburgh, the capital, and Glasgow, the largest city in Scotland. I think Stirling has a population of about 50,000 people in the city, and then there's the surrounding areas. You'll see from the picture in the bottom right hand, it's got its own castle, very similar to Edinburgh Castle, and that's part of the history of the location, where many hundreds of years ago Stirling was on the main route from north of the border south and south of the border north, and in the surrounding vicinities a number of famous battles were conducted. Thankfully, we don't have any more of that, and we're all now part of the United Kingdom. The university itself, beautiful campus. We lie just 2 miles outside of the city centre. There's a bus runs every few minutes from the city into the campus. There's a wide. I think we've got over 100 different nationalities on the campus, and that's spread across undergraduate, but as you would imagine, many of those international students are here studying the one-year postgraduate program of their choice. We've got an extensive staff. I think we've got something like about 65 full-time academics here at the management school, covering all the major management functions. So there's expertise here on campus, and very rarely do we look for outsiders. What we do is we invite industry experts who we want to engage with the different modules on the programme, and they'll come in. They'll either come here and visit us, or we'll go and make a visit to their particular location. So there's lots of opportunities to engage both with other international students, opening up your own personal network across all the different nationalities, which may be of help at some point in the future when you're moving on with your career and you're looking to be able to contact someone, maybe not them, but maybe the next person in the chain where they can put you in touch with that person. The university's got a very strong reputation for student experience. We've got many awards, and those awards are very recent. And I think the beauty of coming here is, although we've got a large international student base, we tend to have on the main small class sizes. So you've got more opportunity to interact on a one-to-one basis with the academic, whoever is teaching you, subject expert, and you've also got lots of opportunity to build really good friendships that's going to last through the course of your study, but also further in beyond life here at the University of Stirling. On campus, it's pretty self-sufficient. We've obviously got all the we've got library, we've got theatre, supermarkets, student accommodation, beautiful lake, beautiful campus. This is a great time of the year because we're in the middle of summer and all the plants are out and the colours in the campus are quite spectacular. With it being small class sizes, you really get the opportunity to interact closely with whoever's teaching on the particular subject. What I've tried to do on the MBA, as far as I possibly can, is to ensure that we have mainly professors teaching. So these will be individuals like myself who are conducting research, publishing their research, latest thinking, knowledge about their subject matter. So hopefully that implies that the material that you've been taught covers all the important historical foundations of the subject, but also lays to bear contemporary research that's revealing whatever new knowledge, new insights that we can gain from conducting our own research, and that feeds into the quality of the teaching. Yeah, some pictures of the campus. These were obviously taken just a few weeks ago, as you can see how beautiful the weather is. You can give you an idea how picturesque it is. And I guess if you're doing a one-year postgraduate program, then it's ideal to be away from the distractions of a big city. You get to concentrate on your studies because this is about giving you the next important step to help you to shape your career, and you want to ensure that you embrace those opportunities as much as you possibly can. Small city, 30 minutes from Edinburgh, 40 minutes from Glasgow. Although it's smaller, it has all of the same attributes that the bigger cities have, but it's easy enough for you to be able to move about within Stirling City and also to be used public transport if you want to go down to Edinburgh or to visit Glasgow. And from here, there's a major train station which takes you north of the border as well. So when you've got Christmas, Easter breaks, time off, and you want to do some travelling, go up in the Highlands, maybe visit some of the many whisky distilleries that are there, then you've got a big opportunity to be able to do that with ease from the city itself. These are typical living costs, and I would say, so take the 10,650 at the top and then add a few extra £1,000 on for all the things that you want to do in terms of holidays or additional trips and anywhere that gives you that degree of comfort that you'll be able to easily afford to be here. Beautiful library, lots of areas for private study, as well as lots of online databases for you to be able to use. The library is open 24/7 most of the year round. So whatever your needs are in terms of access to textbooks, academic journals in the main you can get now online through digital sources. On top of that, the MBA provides books prior to you coming on and studying each of the modules. So again, we're trying to make this as straightforward and stress-free as we possibly can make it. Our virtual learning environment is called Canvas. That's where communication to and from administration, academics, yourselves, bulletin boards, talk groups, sources of information for all of the modules, it's all contained. Begin to upload assessments, and the assessments will be returned to you back digitally. So we're trying to move into a paperless environment. Now, this is where it gets more important when we begin to look at the structure and design of the MBA. So there's a couple of things that I think are important to point out. First is everybody's MBA is personal to them, and each individual comes with his own goals, his or her own goals and ambitions. And we reflect that in both the core modules, but also the elective modules that we're providing on the programme. So you'll see in semester 1 and semester 2, there's something called personal professional development. Now these are the areas where we complement the academic knowledge with the development of the whole person on the programme. So everything that you're going to need to be a success, starting off with higher levels of self-awareness, managing groups, managing difficult people, assertiveness, leadership. These run continuously through these 2 semesters. You set your own learning goals at the beginning, and as you go through the programme, you begin to monitor them and modify them as you begin to achieve your own personal learning goals. Now, one day at a time over a 2-week basis. So anything that's been discussed in that particular day should relate to the module that it's tied into, and then it comes to the end of the semester where you're likely to submit some significant piece of personal reflection on how you think, the personal reflection is a conversation with yourself about how you're developing and how you're learning and how that learning is changing how you think about business and management. We then move into the first of 2 core strategy modules, one in semester 1, one semester 2. I take the first one, and what I do there is I begin to introduce the scenario planning methodology to help people to cope with the flux and change that surrounds all businesses. And from your own experience, you may be aware of either the business that you work with or other businesses that you're familiar with, where significant events happen and people are caught by surprise. And what we're trying to do here is arm people with the tools and the thinking processes so that they are able to cope more with the potential surprises that may emerge over a period of time. Next, we then begin to put into place the significant knowledge required to understand the various functions and disciplines within business and management, marketing, economics, accounting, finance, people management, and then into second semester, operations management, and the second of the core strategy modules, which should begin to link back into the previous modules and use that as some capstone to bring together knowledge at a very senior management level from all of these disciplines in terms of looking at a business, analysing it, understanding what makes it successful, thinking about its opportunities and threats, and what you would do in terms of trying to convince the chief executive to accept your proposal for the foreseeable future within that business. We then have our research methods. You don't come to university and not be able to understand qualitative and quantitative research, so we spend a bit of time there with everybody going through those opportunities. More and more businesses, increasingly, you'll hear the expression, decisions need to be evidence-based, and that's through either commissioned research or individuals within an organisation conducting research on behalf of the organisation to help inform people about areas that are important, but they're not they've got full knowledge prior to making any kind of decision. Now we've got choice of electives. So up until this point, there's been very little choice going through the programme. Now because we recognise that everyone's different, unique, has different ambitions for themselves in terms of their future career. So we run 8 electives and you choose 4 from that. So for example, you might want to think about electives where you're looking at the potential for business growth. So that would be innovation, data analytics, or you might be looking at how to manage and lead change in organizations where you've got leadership, change management, project management. So there's different issues that need to be considered in terms of your particular aspiration for your next stage in your career. Now, Part of the personal professional development in the second semester is all about career planning. So we take you through the process of writing your CV, interviewing, assessment centres, making presentations for jobs, finding out the right jobs, looking at your attributes, looking at your CV, the attributes that you're demonstrating on the CV, and making sure that those marry up to the areas where you think you want to progress your career. So small class size, high level of personal tailoring of the programme, covering all the broad management functions, and then a choice towards the end of the taught element of the programme. And at this point, we open up again more choice in terms of what you want to do for the final piece of work, which happens during May, June, July, August. So you can do a traditional academic piece of work where you take some piece of academic theory, you look at it and you conduct some research, whether that be interviews or questionnaire, and you come back and then you talk about the significance of your findings against that piece of theory. We also offer consultancy projects, and we do that in conjunction with many local businesses who are coming in. They're interested in getting access to our MBA students. So we've got a large community of small, medium-sized enterprises surrounding the university, and we're frequently engaging with them, and they're frequently engaging with us. And out of that comes these opportunities for students to go off and conduct a piece of consultancy with them. Now, prior to that, one of the electives is called consultancy. It runs for 5 days. One of my friends, who is former head of McKinsey Consulting, the world's #1 consulting company, she comes up from Cambridge and teaches that program and takes you through the full spectrum of consultancy activities, from first initial opportunity to speak to the client, specification of the project, delivery of the project, right the way through to maintaining client relationships. I think that's a really good thing to know, whether it's you as a consultant in the future or whether you're commissioned consultants to do a piece of work with you. If you choose to do the consultancy project as an alternative to the dissertation, then that module, consulting, it becomes a mandatory project to before you can get access to those consulting projects. They're very important to us because you're basically going to be representing the university, so we must ensure that we've got the highest caliber of professionalism to work with and engage with many of these local businesses. I've put a few examples of the variety of projects that we've commissioned for our students in the last year or so. So the first one is a local cleaning business who were having high turnover of customer churn, and they were busy trying to recruit new customers. And one of the students went in and did a significant analysis of the customers and did follow-up research with some of them to find out the reasons why. And as you can imagine, it's much more difficult to get a new customer than it is to retain an existing customer. So a new customer retention policy was put into place as a consequence, and have slowed down that level of churn and have increased profitability as a consequence. The second one, one of our Indian students went out and worked with a local family business, FBS Plumbing, looking at developing a website, online presence, search engine optimization. He was successful that the owner worked in conjunction with Santander to get an extended scholarship for him to continue working after he had graduated with that business. CMS Windows, the third one, an incredible business, high levels of commitment to balancing people, profit, and planet. And they were looking at how on the shop floor they've got over 200 people working, and they were looking to see how they could, once they had been with them for a period of time, they develop a certain level of knowledge and skills, and they wanted to see how they could retain them, and what would help to increase levels of motivation and loyalty. And a significant piece of work was conducted there and was presented to the board of directors of that business. And I guess at this point you're thinking about why you would like to do an MBA. I did an MBA myself, 1990-91. Gosh, it just seems like yesterday. And one of the things that I was perplexed about at the time was businesses that I had been working with were constantly facing change, but I didn't think that I had the competence at the time to be able to cope with that level of change. And I needed to understand why change was happening and what my role would be in helping those businesses to go forward. And I think that's what MBA does. It gives you an incredible insight into your own skills and capabilities. I started life as a chartered accountant, ended up being an academic. The skills that I used as a chartered accountant are so totally different from the ones that I use now, especially when I do consultancy and research with organisations. And I think that's a process of discovery for you in terms of untapped capability and the MBA's ability to be able to help you to understand what it is that's untapped and be able for you to identify it and develop it in a safe environment here with us and be coached all the way through the course of the year. And as I said earlier, each person's journey on the MBA is personal, and we want to try and give as much flexibility to individuals within the design of the program. So the picture you can see now with the class, this is working in one of the rooms. This, in fact, was working on one of the modules that I taught, the strategy in the international environment. So you can see here, we've got Mexican, Indian, Japanese, and Scottish students all working together, doing various activities. And that's what we emphasize. We emphasize multicultural groups. We emphasize diversity. We emphasize group work as key skills and key attributes for individuals as they develop their career going forward. And of course, this is what it's all about. This is last year's cohort of graduation, a small cohort of them there. You can see the diversity of the students that are there: Kazakhstan, Scottish, Indian, Mexican, Japanese. And thankfully, I think the rain had stopped at that moment when we were having our pictures taken. But that's you can see the sense of achievement and how proud each of these individuals are at the graduation award. Now, you'll all be different backgrounds, different thoughts and aspirations for your own career, and I think whatever they are, we've got enough flexibility designed into the program to help everybody in terms of what is required to be developed to help each individual to achieve his or her ambitions and goals. And I think the key message is that each one of you has unique talents, and what we're trying to do is to identify and harness those talents, tap into them, and help you to build confidence that you're able to use those talents in any particular business or management situation that you see in the foreseeable future. I've talked on now for about 20-something minutes. I'm more than happy to take any questions that anyone has, so please fire away, and thank you very much for coming on and giving me the opportunity to speak to you. So I type this back, do I? No. I'll speak on there. Okay, so question coming from Paul, and the question is, what would you say with the advantage of an MBA is over MSc Business and Management? So MBA is post-experience So you've got a number of bumps and bruises from whatever area of business and management you've worked in the past. And we're tapping into that and getting you to explore those bumps and bruises so that you recognise what happened where you might not have had knowledge or were unaware of, and you can be able to use that to capture insights from the programme that would allow you to then make different decisions in the future. MSc Business and Management is for those students who are freshers, no experience, and therefore we're putting more of the fundamentals of management in place for them. Whereas with the MBA, we're much more expecting our students to be at the strategy, leadership and change arena in businesses in the future. So I've got another question in from Devansh. He wants to know about what the batch size will be. So at the moment, Devansh, I'm looking for the class to be above 20. Hopefully we get maybe something like 25 students, mixed gender and backgrounds to ensure that we've got good variety and lots of diversity on the programme. Now, from Seth, internship options do the business school offer for MBA programme? We're looking forward to internship options that we prepare. So the consultancy project is the equivalent of the internship. And there's a wide variety of opportunities. We work throughout the year with local businesses and also businesses in Glasgow and Edinburgh who are increasingly looking for students to come and work with them. And that could be anything from, we had some students work on cyber security. We've looked at the online presence. We've looked at marketing strategies. We've looked at business planning. We've looked at new ventures. We've looked at all kinds of opportunities for students to go and work in those. And if there's anything particular you'd like to consider, then just let me know, and I'll let you know in terms of the specifics of what we've had before. Seth's looking at a transition into healthcare management. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about where we are, we're very close to one of the major hospitals here in Forth Valley. So there'll be opportunities for you to go and speak to them. And if we can get an internship consultancy project there, that's fine. One of our visiting professors, the former general manager of, chief executive officer of Forth Valley Health Board, she comes in and talks a lot about leadership and resilience when you're working at that senior level. Given the location, is part-time work hard to find during study? Part-time work, if you were doing part-time work, I'd probably suggest that it would be at the weekend. We tend to be a pretty intense, full-on Monday to Friday, and just depending on how you manage yourself and the groups that you're working with, whether you're effective during the week or whether you would need more time on Saturday or Sunday morning. But I suppose Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, if you're looking for part-time work, would be what I would probably suggest to you. John, is there a part-time option? I'm afraid, John, there's not a part-time option at the moment. We're investing heavily on our Canvas website to allow us to be able to have that flexibility to offer part-time study in the future. At the moment, it's only full-time. We do have one girl who works locally and gets permission from her employer to come in every 6 weeks, I think it is. So she'll study with us for one of the modules, and then she'll work, and she's got flexible working hours as well, which helps her in terms of balancing between full-time study and her full-time job. But we don't have a part-time program at the moment. I'm really sorry about that. Hello, Paul. Yeah, no problem. Career is obviously very, very important when you're giving up work to study on a full-time basis. I think we endeavour to help every way possible throughout the course of the year in terms of next stage in the career. As I've mentioned, we've got the PPD exercises that we do in terms of helping you to not only just develop your own CV in a more insightful manner. We also, as part of that, we bring in external recruiters who do these assessment centres. So it's not academics that are teaching, it's actual people on the front line, HR directors and managers, and they'll take you through the trials and tribulations of assessment centre. We've got the careers support unit here in the university. Now, the beauty of us being AMBA-accredited, you as a student would get access to the AMBA website, and on that portal is a regular update of jobs that are available for AMBA-accredited students that are studying at AMBA-accredited schools. So hopefully there would be something there that would be worthwhile. I'm also planning to have AMBA come and visit the school early in semester 1, and again they'll help you to better understand what is available from them. I'm currently studying an MBA program at RMIT University in Australia. If I transfer to University of Stirling, can I get any credit exemptions? I would need to look into the specifics of the relationships between the UK and Australia in terms of what would be permissible. I would need to look at the modules that you studied, the module descriptors, and be able to map them to ours to ensure that there's an equivalence of experience. I would need to be able to look at the number of credits that have been allocated to a particular module and how that would equate to our credit structure here. The answer is yes, it's possible, but I can't be any more specific than that. I'm sorry, that I just need to look at the specifics when and if they come to my attention. I hope that helps. Now, I know a number of you might be looking at funding. There's a wide range of scholarships available to study on the MBA. And it would be worth having a look at those on the website if you've not already been able to do that. We've not yet allocated any of the scholarships, so there's still opportunities at this stage for you if you want to apply for one of those. Hello, John. I see your question there about studying individual classes. You live reasonably low. Yes, that is possible. The way that we teach is intensive 2-week blocks for each subject. So 1 2-week would be one subject. You would have 8 days of teaching, 1 day to be able to do the assessment that's related to that particular module, and then there would be a day of PPD on the Thursday or the Friday, depending on how it's scheduled into the timetable. So if you get sufficient flexibility with your employer, that you can dip in and dip out, then I think it's feasible. As I say, we've had a couple of people live locally have gone down that route themselves just recently. Email you. So That's been a good chat that we've had there. I hope I've been able to illuminate some of the benefits of studying here at Stirling, and hopefully I've answered your questions as well. I'm going to sign off now, but there'll still be someone online who will be able to answer any questions that you've got. Equally, if there's something that you want me to address personally, then please feel free to pick up my email address off the website and drop me an email, and I'm usually pretty good at replying quickly when I get something in. So I'd like to thank you all very much. I hope to see you here at Stirling in September, and whatever you decide to do, I hope that you make a good choice for your career, because this is an important investment that you're going to make in yourself for the foreseeable future. Thank you very much. Goodbye.